Hello my beautiful friends and welcome back. So I am back today with more controversial opinions that might get me cancelled because you guys thoroughly enjoyed the last one, as did I, and your girls got a lot of opinions. So here we are. I feel like you've got to be in an arsey mood to film these videos, and your girl got her period this morning, so you couldn't have gotten me on a better arsier day. If you hear cracking in the background, it's just the fire, so don't mind that. I've got my peppermint and honey tea here, PCOS girlies unite. Right, let's just dive right on in. So my first controversial opinion is I think mukbangs are gross. I'm not talking about a normal portion size meal. I'm talking about mukbangs that involve enough food to feed 15 people. Feed a full family. I feel like mukbangs originally came from a place of sitting down with a meal and chatting away so that the viewer can also eat with you and feel like, you know, they're sitting with somebody while they eat their meal. But what it has turned into is absolutely horrendous. There's this TikToker called Baby Dumpling, I'm nearly sure her name is, and she went viral for, you know, doing these crazy kind of mukbangs and for being able to eat so much food. But, you know, online detectives got a little bit suspicious and Baby Dumpling started to get a little bit lazy with her edits, and in one video in particular there's a clip where you can see that there's also somebody else in the room with her and they're taking some of her food off her plate while she's filming. Second of all, a lot of her fans started to notice that she never showed clips of her swallowing her food, which seems to be a common theme in the mukbang world. There's another mukbang TikToker where people started noticing that she would use a one finger signal to mark the point where the clip should be cut so she could spit out her food, and there seems to be so many mukbangers that have been caught spitting out their food. So between sharing their food and spitting out their food, I'm like, why, what are we doing, what is going on? There is no world this makes any sense to me. I just do not understand it. First of all, it is so wasteful. Second of all, who is enjoying this kind of content? And it clearly is a lot of people, because a lot of these mukbangers have millions of viewers and millions of views on every video, and I'm like, why? They're not even talking. They are solely just eating insane amounts of food, like amounts of food that is not normal to be consumed. We as humans cannot consume this amount of food, so you must know that they're faking it, first of all. So what's enjoyable there? And second of all they're doing is like slurping and moaning over their food. Like, most of them have the microphone so close to their mouth as well, so you can hear every sound. I just can't deal with it. Like, why? Am I missing something here? Is there something I'm missing? Because, you know, I've always loved sitting down to like my breakfast or something if somebody has put out a video where they're also eating a meal, but like a normal sized meal that we eat on a day-to-day basis. Not enough food to feed half the goddamn village. Oh my goodness, I don't know. So my next controversial opinion is celebrity culture is weird. Worshipping celebrities like their god is not normal. I said what I said. You shouldn't be idolizing these complete strangers to the point of being hysterical over them, feeling entitled to every detail of their lives, and defending them no matter what they do. I just feel like it's so concerning watching people get so affected by people who don't even know they exist, and you don't even know what these people are really like behind closed doors, because really, for the most part, you don't know anything about celebrities. Like, you take an actor or a singer, all you really often know is their art, you know? They share very little of themselves, their personal lives and their personal selves, and often what you do know about celebrities is often speculation and rumours. And most of the time you don't even know if these things are true or not. It's just not even in comparison to like a content creator. You know, a lot of content creators do share a lot of their personal lives and their personal selves. So in that sense, you often can know a content creator to a certain extent, you know, because if they choose to share personal things, well then you do know a certain level about them. But it's just not that way with celebrities, and people get so obsessed. And on the same note, I don't know why we expect celebrities to be role models, because they are literally just rich. I don't know why we're still shocked when it's revealed that the rich and famous are out of touch. What else do you expect? They literally live in a different world to us. They do not live in the same reality that we live in. You often see people complain a lot on social media that like everyday people, like just say scientists and healthcare workers, don't get the recognition they deserve. But we have done that. We are the ones putting these celebrities on pedestals. We are to blame. So my next controversial opinion is I don't think influencers/content creators should be getting paid as much as they do. In absolutely no world should an influencer be getting paid more than a healthcare worker. Something seriously needs to change. And I know this would not be a controversial opinion for the masses, but it's definitely, I would say, a controversial opinion as somebody who is a content creator and has been a content creator for years, okay? Are you with me? Being in this industry myself and knowing how much some people have gotten paid for like one Instagram post or like a 60-second mention, it would actually make you physically sick. And I just don't understand where we went so wrong. I don't know about your country, but here in Ireland, we are seriously short-staffed on healthcare workers, nurses, doctors, all healthcare workers, and it's been that way for years because not enough people are training in these professions, and I don't blame them when the salaries are an absolute joke. But the government doesn't have a right to complain about there being a lack of healthcare workers when they're not doing what they should be doing and upping their salaries, you know. And then, oh my god, it absolutely boils my blood. For example, in a town near where I live, in the last number of months, they built a structure, right? The ugliest ass structure you've ever seen in the middle of the town for no reason. Do you want to know how much this art structure cost? 1 million euros. You heard me right. 1 million euros. It actually makes me physically sick. Are you actually taking the piss out of us? That 1 million could have been invested in the healthcare industry, into upping these people's salaries who so deserve to have their salary upped. Hello, I just feel like, you know, when they're doing stupid shit like building art structures, that is nothing but an absolute eyesore. Like, when I tell you it's the ugliest thing I have ever seen, like, I do not say it lightly, oh my goodness. I feel like they should have to go to the public when they're doing stupid stuff like this and asking, you know, do you agree with this? Because at the end of the day, it's our tax money. It's not like they don't have enough money to up the salaries. They do. We pay more than enough taxes, my goodness. And what are they doing with our money? Because I don't understand. I don't get where it's going. It literally makes no sense to me. So my next controversial opinion is I feel like some people take liking true crime a bit too far, and I say this as a girl who loves true crime. I've always loved true crime. I've always watched true crime. But can you please explain to me, why do you have a favourite case? Like, hello, people died. That is someone's brother, sister, mother, daughter, son, father. This is not just an entertaining show you're watching. This is real life. This is somebody's real life. Or why do you have a favourite murderer? Like, are you okay? Do we need to interject? Do we need to call somebody? Because I am concerned. It's giving concerning. It's just weird to me. Like, I understand finding the details of a case interesting or finding the details fascinating, but sometimes it just becomes borderline obsession, in my humble opinion. So my next controversial opinion, now stay with me because I might lose a few of you here, but I feel like sometimes violence is the answer, and I'm tired of people pretending it's not. For example, I don't know if you've heard about the case, but in 2005, Maria del Carmen Garcia set her daughter's rapist Antonio on fire after he taunted her following his prison release. So Antonio had R-worded, I'm using R-worded because I don't know if it'll flag on YouTube, but he had R-worded Maria's daughter in 1998, and then during a day release in 2005, Antonio approached Maria at a bus stop showing no remorse. Maria then confronted him at a bar, pouring gasoline on him and setting him on fire, where he got burns over 90% of his body, and he later died in hospital. So Maria was initially sentenced to 10 years in prison, but after she appealed it, it was reduced to 5.5 years. In my opinion, I feel like he got the justice that the justice system failed to provide. Which leads me into my next controversial opinion. The justice system is absolutely fucked. Why are innocent people getting locked up for life while guilty people who are committing serious crimes are getting released back into our society to go on and commit the same crimes again and again and again? I feel like R-worders and pedophiles that have been convicted and proven to be exactly that should be sentenced to death. And I don't believe they should be getting out after 5-7 years. It's an absolute sick joke. It makes me sick to my stomach. In Ireland, where I live, only a couple months ago, a warder got only 5 years in prison. And I'm not being funny. Like, in Ireland, our prisons, you can't even call them a prison. Like, it's a million miles away from just, say, an American prison. I feel like America has some of the toughest prisons in the world. But again, that's if you get put into the toughest prison. Also, most of these people, warders and pedophiles, as we've seen time and time again, they come out to just commit the same crimes because, first of all, they're mixing with their same kind in jail. Like, are you dumb? Like, if anything, they're just getting more ideas in jail, more contact. It just makes no sense to me. Sentence them to death. End of. I see no other way out for them. Like, it just, I can't cope with it. I can't even talk about it. Nah. My next controversial opinion is that the underconsumption trend on social media really pisses me off. The definition of underconsumption means making use of what you already own and not buying into every trend on social media. This is not underconsumption. This is just normal consumption. And I feel like normal consumption is a much more appropriate term than underconsumption is. I feel like we've just been so brainwashed by overconsumption that people seeing somebody using what they already own is seen as underconsumption. But I'm just like, what world are you living in? Like, I don't know anybody, myself included, who has never not and doesn't use up the products and the things that they already have, because most of us are not pissing piles of money. Oh my god, I just feel like we've been so brainwashed from seeing huge influencers get sent hundreds of free products every month, or seeing big influencers doing like these makeup tours and they have 50 foundations and 100 concealers and 200 blushers. But they are the minority. Like, these big, huge influencers with millions of people are not the majority. Like, who are we talking about here? I also don't know anybody who has ever bought into every single trend on social media. Most people cannot afford to buy into every single trend on social media. It just doesn't make any sense. Where is the logic? I just feel like in this day and age, everybody is so desperate to make something a trend. And it's like, relax, babe, relax. We don't need a fancy dancy word for absolutely everything. We can just call things as they are. Normal consumption. Human consumption. So my next controversial opinion is I don't think every movie and TV series needs a sex scene, especially when it's portraying minors. And I say this, as you know, if you've been following me for a long time, as an extremely sex positive person who has always openly talked about sex and encourages sex education and, you know, us being comfortable speaking about the subject, because for so long it was something we were shamed about and it was like, shh, don't talk about that, you know, that's coming from me. I just feel like it's just gotten a bit ridiculous these days. Like, you will have a 40-minute TV show and 10 minutes of that 40-minute show is a sex scene. And I'm just like, why? Like, this isn't adding anything. Like, a lot of the time it's often unnecessary, and they're not even sex scenes. They're like full-on pornos. Just like, what is going on? I have come to like chill out and just like watch a cutesy little show, and here I am having a full-on porno pushed on me. If that was what I wanted to watch, darling, I could have gone and watched that, but personally that's not my thing anyway. But I don't get it. And especially when it portrays minors. And a lot of these shows and movies are portraying minors. And I'm just like, we're not helping the narrative, the situation, anything here. For example, I don't know if any of you guys watched Pretty Little Liars, but I loved Pretty Little Liars back in the day when it came out. But there are so many sexual themes and scenes surrounding Alison in Pretty Little Liars when she was the youngest cast member. She was 12 years of age when she started. Like, why? Who in their right mind? I just feel like it's further perpetuating the issue in our society when it comes to minors. My next controversial opinion is we need to stop judging people for having no friends. I keep seeing this trend circulating on social media, and it's like when you finally realise why that one girl has no friends, and it's basically insinuating it's because she's the problem. And of course, that is going to be the case, but for a very small minority of people, I feel like, no. Do you realise people are fake, people are fickle, people are two-faced, people are disloyal, people are out for themselves, people are just not good people. Like, there's a lot of shitty people out there, and it's very hard to find true, genuine friends. It's also much harder for neurodivergent people to make friends. It's also a lot harder to make friends if you're no longer in school or college, or if you don't have a conventional job. Even if you do have a conventional job, a lot of people don't want to mix work and personal life. You know, like, a lot of people like to keep them two separate. The long and the short of it is just so hard to meet real, genuine people that you are compatible with and you connect with. And that is just how it is. You know that saying, if you have one true friend, you truly are blessed. I don't think I've ever heard a truer phrase than that in my life. My next controversial opinion is that audiobooks are not reading, and you should stop pretending you read a book that you only listened to. I say this as somebody who has so much respect for readers. My mum is a huge reader, and she's always been a big reader. Like, growing up, our house was just covered in books. Like, there were books in every room. Every night without fail, you know, she'd read her book in bed. That would be like her entertainment. She would very rarely watch TV. You know, she would literally have to be forced to sit down and watch something on the TV. Like, she would always choose reading a book. I've always struggled reading. I love reading, but you have to get me. Like, the book has to grasp me in like the first chapter. And if the book doesn't like reel me in very quickly, I'm done. Like, I have such a short attention span. I just really struggle to concentrate on something if I'm not interested in it, and it has to be fairly fast. So yeah, I've just always had a lot of respect for readers, like my mom. And I don't know, it just really annoys me when people are like listening to audiobooks. Like, it's giving you're listening to a podcast. That's one thing I'm very good at. I love me a good podcast. I love me a good YouTube video. You know, you stick it in the background while you're doing something else. Multitasking, you know, that's my kind of buzz. But you're not reading a book, babe. Like, just say it for what it is. I understand that you're still digesting the same story per se, but surely you're exercising a different muscle, you know. Surely, like, come on. I don't know why it annoys me so much, and I know audiobooks are great for people, but it's just not the same thing. And let's say it for what it is. My next controversial opinion is not everybody should go blonde, okay? And I say this as somebody who also went there. You know, I feel like going blonde is a canon event, but honey, like, we don't all do blonde hair. Insert picture of when I went the blondest I ever went, and I cried so hard for the next 2 working days, and then went back to the hairdresser within a week to get more brown put in my hair. And I don't think I hardly left the house in that week because I was so embarrassed. It didn't suit me, it doesn't suit a lot of people, and I don't know why so many of us insist on going blonde. That's just not your destiny, that's just not your path. Like, stick with what you know. You know, some of us were born to be brunette. Some of us were born to be ginger, have red hair. Some of us were born to have black hair. And you know, it's just very hard for a lot of people who were naturally born dark, like myself, and very pale. Like, I've got blue undertones on my skin. She's pale, like, she's giving death. She's giving corpse. It's just not a part of everyone's journey. And I feel like so many of us just insist on trying to force it. But honey, sometimes some things just can't be forced, okay? And I just feel like I've seen so many girls who are just so gorgeous with like their dark hair or their red hair or whatever goddamn colour hair they have, and they just so badly want to be a blonde. And like, some people can pull it off amazingly, like I couldn't. Some of us can't, and it's okay to admit failure, and it's okay to say you tried something and it didn't work out, and we're going to go back to our roots literally and stick with what we know. But one thing that does really concern me is I am in trouble as I start getting older and I start aging, because I found my first ever grey hair last year, okay? And I found a couple more this year too, like kind of close to the front of my head, but I plucked them. Like, if I see a grey, white hair peeking out, like, she's going, like, she's not sticking around. And I mean, they're really small. They're about that length, so rude. Like, what are you doing here? Like, are you paying rent? Like, you are not welcome here, my darling. But yeah, I just feel like, you know, when you get older and you get more greys, blonde is obviously the best hair colour to have because your greys kind of fade in. Like when you have dark hair like me, they stick out like a sore thumb, and it's basically like, hello everybody, look at me. You literally can't help but notice it when you have darker hair. And I'm like, I'm absolutely screwed because blonde is just not my path. It's just not my destiny. So I really don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know, will I just have to embrace it and hope that I get some gorgeous white hair, or else dye it grey? You know the way like some women go down that route, and I love that, like embracing it. So many women look stunning with like white grey hair too. It's absolutely gorgeous on some women. But yeah, I don't know, that's just a little side note that does concern me sometimes. So let me know if you're in a similar boat to me. I know I don't have to worry about it at the minute. Like, girl, you've got like 2 grey hairs that come up from time to time, but you know, I like to be one step ahead. Okay, my darlings, I'm going to wrap it up here today on a lighthearted note because I feel like some of the controversial opinions that we spoke about today were a little bit on the heavier side. But definitely do let me know down below if you agreed or disagreed with anything we spoke about today, or if you have any of your own controversial opinions. And also let me know if you would like this to be like a regular little series on my channel, because I would love to do that. I absolutely love filming these videos, and you guys really seem to enjoy the last one I did as well. So yeah, definitely let me know. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. I love you all so very much, and I can't wait to see you all in my next video. Bye bye, friends.